Nipun Goenka, the chairman of the GD Goenka Schools and University, Madam Goenka ji, Madam Bharti ji, all the principals, the Vice Chancellor of the GD Goenka University, all the principals, 96 principals from GD Goenka schools across the country. It's a proud privilege for me to come here today and address all of you on your annual GD Goenka Confluence. And I think as we know, GD Goenka is perhaps one of the leading educational institutions in the country. And the growth that they had in past 20 years is really exceptional. It can be seen from the fact that they are present across the country in a lot of prime cities and doing exceptionally well. And it is only because of principals and leaders like you that the schools are flourishing in this way. I would like to mention here that National Education Policy 2020 has been a very key instrument in shaping and deciding what should be the educational future for our nation. Our country got independent in 1947. At that point of time, we were having limited jobs. Our economy was in bad shape. We had, I think, 4 educational policies till now: 65, then 86, then 2000, 2020. So those policies were according to the needs of the time. At that point of time, focus initially was on, make our children educated, literate, or we needed people for industrial jobs. Then we had, post-liberalization. There was huge focus on, there was industrial growth, corporatization of in our nation. So till then, again, there was focus on, creating competing jobs. Students were somehow motivated to study and to compete in various competing examinations and get good jobs, and families were also kind of in that zone of mind. But now if you see post 2020, this if you talk about 2010, I would say our nation is right now at the cusp of major revolution. We are in the top 5 global economies, and in next 5 years we'll be in top 3. We only have US, China, and right now Germany and Japan are ahead of us, but we are very sure that in next 5 years India will be in top 3 economies. So if we are in the top 3 economies, what exactly are we looking for our youth, for our children? That is really important, and that has to start from the classroom itself. And when we talk about classroom, we talk about right from initial years. That's why the first and the foremost step that has been taken in national education policy is to give due importance to primary education. NEP also says that 85% of the brain development happens by the age of 6. Majority of your neural network is developed by the age of 10. So that's why it's very, very important that right from when a child is of 3 years of age, he starts a formal schooling. 3 to 8 is given that bracket. The reason is that a child must get a formal schooling system right from its initial years. And as teachers, leaders, principals, it is very, very important to engage with parents. See, there are 3 key factors in education sector. The first and foremost is parents. A child stays for around 6 hours a day in school and 220 days. Rest of the time a child is at home. So my daughter is 4.5 years old. So as a parent also, I feel that, she goes to nearby school, Sardar Patel Vidyalaya, and once she comes back, we as parents engage with our child. We try to talk to her that what has been taught in the class. We spend time with her, and then we make her practice at home. So it is very, very important that as principals you engage with parents and tell them that in initial years itself parents have to spend huge amount of time with their children and ensure that their children, the initial, there's a theory that has been, I don't know how many of you have read books on brain sizes. There is one author, David Eagleman. He has written one book, Life Wired. And similarly, there is an author, Bruce Lipton, who has talked about biology of belief. And both of these authors say that, human brain from initial years, it becomes a dump ground. So whenever, right from your early years, whatever you are seeing, whatever you are hearing, it is going in your brain. And later, you don't know, when you talk about subconscious, it goes in your subconscious mind. So in early years, if we say to a child that why are you not doing this, or you are not good at something, or you shout at the child, or you say that, or you start rewarding few students in initial years and leave behind the others, it has a huge impact on the psyche and the subconscious of those children. So that's why it is very, very important, especially in that 3 to 8 years bracket. We must consider each and every child as equal in the sense that each and every child is unique, and each and every child has his or her own potentials. So your teachers, you must try to spend maximum of the time with your primary teachers. Whenever we go to a school, we find that focus is on 10th and 12th, isn't it? Every school is concerned about its board's marks. But if you really want to bring change in your school environment, you have to start focusing early. You must try to develop that attitude in your primary teachers that every child is unique, every child has his or her own potential. Try to, integrate best of the practices that are happening across the globe in primary years. See, all of majority of the schools here are CBSE schools. So CBSE, it never says that one has to stick to a defined syllabus, especially in early years. You have your own, flexibility in designing your unit plan, especially in early years. In fact, I think GD Goenka must be designing some sort of set curriculum. We would want, as an educationist, we would want to see that schools are devising their ways, innovative ways in dealing with students in a way that, a teacher acts more as a facilitator and not as a teacher. Students must be engaged in a way that they are able to speak majority of the time. Learning, when you say it has to be competency based learning, what exactly we mean by that is that a child is able to critically think and analyze, and it is not forced upon that, you have to read this, that. You must have that flexibility in a child. So when in initial years, this foundational learning and numeracy is being dealt with, simultaneously socio-emotional skills must also be focused upon. No children should be allowed to compete. Nobody should be said that you are the winner and you are the loser. Also identify, see, there are a lot of children with special needs or gifted children. Many of in your schools must be gifted students. So you must try to identify these students who are gifted, not only in the field of just academics, but also in extracurriculars. Identify these gifted ones and try to focus on them separately. Identify your children with special needs. Sometimes initial nudges or initial identification, early identification is able to actually bring them at par with other students, or they each CWS, many of the CWSN, you will find that mildly autistic students are actually doing very well in some of the subjects. So try to identify this innate potential and keep on engaging with the parents. We are seeing that many of the teachers, many of the principals have developed their own unit plans and unit books that are to be, taught in school. This is really very appreciable. This is what we expect. In fact, in higher classes, when you move, when you move in that bracket from 9 years to 13 years, what we expect is that a school, becomes an area of experimentation. You have NCERT books that are there, that are the base, but You must have a culture of where children are having case studies. You are finding out best of the case studies around the topic. The children are going home, solving those case studies, reading that material, and when they are coming back in school, you are having discussion, lively discussion in classes. I would like to share this. When I was director of education in our schools of specialized excellences, we changed the entire setting. It was not one to many. We had various groups, sitting in students sitting in groups and having discussions on various topics. We tied up with lot of institutes. We started off courses in all the four streams. I'd like to mention here that in schools of specialized excellences for performing visual arts, we tied up with Shishti School of Drama, we tied up with Global Music Institute, we tied up with Subhash Ghai Whistling Woods, and started courses like film and media making, music core, performing visual arts, dance and drama. Similarly, for humanities, we were designing our syllabus to the tune of what is happening in today's times by tying up with Ashoka University, Tata Institute of Social Sciences. For fashion and technology, we tied up with NIFT. And similarly, for creativity and design thinking, we tied up with IIT Delhi Department of Design. And then for coding, IIT Delhi, IHFC, we organized Delhi Robotics League. We also this year have started with Hackathon. Idea is to promote such, start such initiatives in your schools. Engage with your teachers. Now, teachers training is again one area which is very, very important. There are lot of, in fact, I can say this to the management also, if together with for your entire bunch of schools, they are some of the best training partners in our country. Like FLU gives very good training in English. TIS Mumbai, exceptional training in sciences. IIT Gandhinagar again in physics. So there are so many good institutes which are giving such a wonderful training of teachers. So identify your best of the teachers, make them resource persons, and try to bring changes in the way pedagogy is being transacted in classrooms. That is very, very important. It should not be one to many. Like अगर मैं अभी आपसे पूरे टाइम बात करता रहूँगा, मैं जितना भी अच्छा बात कर रहा हूँ, आफ्टर 15-20 minutes all of you will be bored कि यार ये बहुत हो गया. So how can we make a classroom interesting? That you at least as principals, what we see is that there are two aspects in when you are a principal. One is your administrative leadership. You have to see a lot of things in school, like whether discipline is being maintained, how is the cleanliness, hygiene, hygiene of the school, whether all the circulars of CBSE and state governments are being followed, whether the all the guards, all the boundary wall, all the repair maintenance, all these things, whether the administrative staff is recruited properly, there is harmony between all the staff, the students' issues, if the parents are complaining, you have to see these are all your administrative leaders part. But one part in you is your academic leadership. I think once you become being principal, you must not just focus upon your administrative leadership, but also on academic leadership. That means at least 25% of your time you must dedicate on what pedagogy-wise changes you can bring in your schools. You have to have a group of teachers with you, maybe your PGTs for higher education than TGTs, a group of dedicated teachers with whom you want to bring changes in the way teaching is happening in your schools. Many a times we are seeing that smart classes are being used very effectively in classroom. I think it is very, very important. In initial years, smart classrooms, I have my own doubts whether we must use much of smart classrooms in initial years, because sometimes it leads to addiction also in children. But yes, after maybe from 6th to 12th, it is important that majority of the key topics are being taught smart classrooms are used as an aided device. But the most important thing is that your teachers must have a proper unit plan developed, and you must review it with your teacher. And Perhaps feedback from students. I think the monthly feedback from students is very, very important to understand what new they are observing in class. Are they, student must be able to share. Is this class boring? Is this class interesting? What is new and what is unique that is happening? And we must try to have an environment where students become leaders. So majority of your activities you must try to focus that students come at the forefront. We have seen in classrooms where students are actually doing peer-to-peer learning or peer-to-peer teaching. We must try to promote these things in classrooms. And as far as new topics are concerned, CBSE or NCRT is also in the process of devising a lot of new curriculum. Schools are also at freedom. See, you take any topic in mathematics, you take algebra. So, okay, you have an NCRT book that has got some sort of theory and then question and answers. But what new or unique you can do, your maths teachers can do in devising the unit plans, that is up to you. Whether you are having a maths lab or you are going to a field to explain some concepts, or you are having sort of case studies where children are supposed to just go and read it and then you discuss in classroom what new and unique they have learned, the kind of projects that your children are doing. Many a times we are seeing that due to these competitive examinations, students start focusing more on, they think that the study for the CUET or JEE is different from study from CBSE. No, it is not. If your concepts are clear, then you need not, take special coaching. But you have to ensure in your classroom that critical thinking and analysis is being given due importance and not just rote learning. And you have to have, your own unit plans and your own way of teaching in classroom, and it should be interesting and that should be reviewed again and again. And perhaps your good teachers, you must have, maybe every 2-3 months some outing where a team building exercise happens, and you try to, many times some of the senior teachers, they start feeling that we have been teaching in this way from past 15 years, we don't want to change. So to bring change in a system, it requires lot of effort, persistence, lot of, you have to sometimes go an extra mile by accepting some of the fallacies of your subordinate staff, but that you have to work. That how best we can engage with our teachers and students and parents to bring about changes. We also find that in many of the schools, the report card or the progress card is not just grades. They, based upon each and every learning outcomes, the students are, assessed. So even those sort of practices can also be introduced, because they have a huge impact on identifying what is good in a child, where he has to work more, and where, a teacher is lacking. In fact, a progress card not only, reflects what a child is getting, but also what a teacher has been able to communicate to his child. So that's why it is very, very important that comprehensively we bring about reforms in education system. And I'm again saying that the method of one-way teaching we must shun away with, and we must find out ways in classroom that they become very, very interesting. Students become active learner. They, they are able to question, they are able to, critically analyze, they are able to think, they are able to talk freely. And homeworks are not homeworks. Many a times when we, keep on giving these sort of homework culture, they don't help. So how best we can, engage students so that they go at home and do something that you are giving as a homework. That is also important. Maybe case studies, maybe some sort of assignments which are very, very interesting, where a child learns at home, and in engaging them all the time. I think that is very, very important. Projects, we are now seeing there is a huge interest that is, and in our country also services sector contributes 50% of the economy. artificial intelligence, computer sciences, they are gaining huge traction. So in CBSE also you will see there are a lot of combinations that are there, that information practices or ICT, they can be taken by art students also or commerce students also. So try to identify these combinations where your children based upon their interest and also the strength of our nation, they start taking those subjects. So and then devising your own ways of transacting them in classroom. So there are a lot of things that are there in national education policy. There are a lot of areas, just the way I talked about gifted children, the way I talked about children with special needs. So Vedic maths, we started off in Directorate of Education schools, Vedic and Abacus maths. That is also one area that is very, very important. There is another area that I would like to talk about is mental health. See what is happening due to this lot of digital addiction or the gadget age. Children are getting unfiltered flow of information, and we are having nuclear families now. Earlier we had the strength of joint families. Child had the privilege of siblings, uncles and aunts, grandmother, grandfather. That is now missing in our society. We are moving toward nuclear families. We are hearing children of the age of 10, 12 talking about anxieties, panic attacks. So how to take care of these things? The one way is discussing about it. The second is having sessions of mindfulness, meditation, breathing in schools. These are the things that really help. Then celebrating maybe grandfather day, grandparents day, aunts uncle day in school, so that the grandparents also, the child comes with his or her grandparent, they have a good bonding. So there are a lot of things of that sort. Mental health is one area where you have to focus a lot, and you need to have counselors who are properly trained to identify the children at the early age, who is getting isolated, who is feeling depressed, who is having anxiety issues. So start identifying these areas, because these are very, very important. Then again, how best we can, this national education policy also talks about how we can instill both the traditional values in our children and also make them modern. So we must also try to identify what is the our ancient wisdom. We have lot of I would say books of huge, I am not saying them religious books, but there are so many I would say spiritual books, and so many books of huge philosophical content. You talk about Gita, you talk about Thirukkural. There are books from south, north, east and west. You talk about Dhampat from Buddhism. So these are some of the content which are very, very powerful. So you must also have some sort of activities around these, and students must get chance to read these texts or discuss these texts. We recently saw this International Gita Mahotsav being celebrated in Haryana. So such sort of activities you must try to promote in your schools. And then if we talk about languages, many a times people say that what is the use of studying in your regional language, or but I must say that in initial years it is always good if a child is encouraged to learn in his or her regional language along with the second language that you want to take. I'll talk about my daughter. So she goes to Sada Patel Vidyalaya. The unique thing about that school is that initial years they teach in Hindi, and but the how beautifully they integrate Hindi with learning, and then they move on to English and other skills. It is really appreciable. So one must not try to criticize if a child is speaking in Hindi or if a child is speaking in his or her native language. Initially, as a child picks well in his or her native language. So that's why the child must not be devoid of that learning through his or her native language. So you must try to promote your regional language, and then simultaneously English or other languages that are there. In fact, I would like to mention this to all the schools that if we talk about top 5 economies, see, leave Mandarin. That is a topic of discussion later. But Japanese and German. See, these are the 2 economies which require manpower in lot of manpower, and their own languages are compulsory. So if you teach such languages, that will be of huge immense benefit, because these are the top 5 economies. These are aging economies, so they require young people there. So I can bet that if a child knows German or Japanese, or for that matter Mandarin also, but German and Japanese, if a child knows, then there is huge potential for him or her to. And in both these countries, higher education is free of cost, you must be knowing. And so perhaps this foreign or for that matter higher education linkage, that must also be maybe from 9 to 12th, when your child reaches that age. Perhaps that career counseling aspect also comes in, and teachers have to act as good career counselors. Or perhaps you must have good career counselors in schools who identify where the child, what is the passion of the child, where he wants to go, what is the dreams, aspirations, and then accordingly channelize that. These, our country is as I was saying, that nobody could have thought 20 years back that I can make a 1,000 crore company or a 5,000 crore company apart from Tata, Ambanis and Birlas. Now we have youth of the age of 25, 30. Ritesh Agarwal from Oyos, Bansals from Flipkart, Zomato, all these people. I'll give you an example. My good friend Raghav Verma, he was the backbencher in class. We never thought that he can do anything. He founded Chayos. He used to come and say 5-10 years back that I want to do something in tea sector. So sky is the limit now. My senior is Zomato's CEO, and also I'm from IIT Delhi. So 2 of my seniors, one is they developed Flipkart, and then Ola, and then there's so many entrepreneurs who are coming up. So that's why that aspiration also has to be built in your students right from initial years, that you can do something of your own. Rather than a job seeker, you can be a job giver. You need to take risk. Now is an era where people are ready to invest in ideas in our country. That never happened 20 years back. Now it is happening. So our youth have to be given that confidence that it is okay to fail. You can fail this time, but you will definitely, learn something from that failure. And maybe after failing 5 or 6 times, you might become a Chayos, an Ola. These people also, Raghav, I know. So you have to. There might be a lot of failures in your life, but you will learn from those failures. So that's why that confidence has to be given to our youth of the nation, that they can. It's okay to fail. It's okay to take risks. Earlier, during my time, it was not. When I was in school, we were clearly told, work hard, get a job. Now you need not tell these things in school. You must tell that, you must get this skill. You must try to identify your passion. There are funders who are willing to fund. I hear from many schools. Recently, CBSE organized Ideathon, and we found that youths are from one of our government school. Youths were pitching to us. They devised one sort of a tag. They said that, sir, you are having attendance issues. We want to give a solution to you. We said, okay, what is the solution? They said, have an attendance tag. They developed it with RFID thing. They said that it is very easy. You do not need to carry any ID card. Once a child enters the school, on the gate itself, there is a kind of an RFID thing. It captures, and whenever the child leaves, the message also goes to the principal and to whom. And those children, they are saying that, sir, you install it in our government school, we'll give you off. And they were in top 10 and they got 1 lakh funding from IIT Delhi. So government school students from Jhilmil Vivek Vihar, the school name is Rajkiya Pratibha Vidyalaya Surajmal Vihar. The class 11, 12 students were giving this idea, they have developed this. The reason why I am saying is that schools have to instill that confidence in the students that they can do something of this sort. It's okay to fail. It's okay to take a break. You must have confidence in yourself and you must do something of your own. And it's only from school that confidence can be given. Nobody else can do that. So entrepreneurship is one area where, our nation can, our youths need to be empowered. That confidence needs to be given. Socio-emotional skills are important. Then sportability, obviously. Sports, we all know. Sports, there's always a focus. And GD Goenka has been a pioneer in focusing on sports. And I think sports also, if you are playing, you are having one sport as your passion or you are playing one sport, it will not just keep you healthy physically but also mentally. So I think it is very, very important that your children have one sport as a habit. And perhaps you must document it and you must ensure that every child of yours must play some sport daily. Not the esports. Even though esports are picking up, but there must be some physical sport that children must play. And try to also counsel your students on, thank you. Try to counsel your students on, usage of this devices, electronic devices, mobile phones and social media. Perhaps you need to talk about these things when children are in class 9th, that usage of digital devices should not be, it should not be in an unrestricted manner. It should be in a very productive manner that needs to be talked to children. Because due to this unfiltered flow of information, it is doing huge damage. We are having so much youth issues which were never there earlier, and that is mainly because of unfiltered flow of information. They don't know where to stop. This reel culture, this social media culture, so much of time is wasted on these. So you need to talk about all these life skills things to your students. Perhaps more sessions, identify good partners where your school can identify, lot of players from around the community. Ideally, a school is supposed to be a community in itself. So as a school, not only you must be talking to your parents, your parents will be from diverse community. So that gives you a huge strength. But also to your, nearby community areas, your RWAs, your maybe community center that is near you. Try to identify best, and then the best of the academic institutions with whom you can partner in. Like people who are in Delhi, go to IIT Delhi, take your children to IIT Delhi for a visit, or have a talk with a lot of professors. Drop a mail. I am sure majority of you will get a reply back. There are so many good institutions in Delhi. I am not just talking about Delhi, in other areas also. A lot of you might be from main tier 1, tier 2 cities. So many good institutions are there. Recently we had, Chandrayaan 3. So I happened to meet the mission director. He said that students are welcome to come to ISRO. Take them to ISRO for the ones who are interested in going there. Let them see a takeoff of any satellite launch vehicle. That has a huge impact on a child. These are the things which coaching institutes can never give. See, a school, the reason why even all from CBSE or Education Ministry, we are also worried that how we can, curtail this coaching culture, because that is doing a huge damage. That is kind of producing machines. So schools have to have an all-round holistic development approach. And if your children are having those critical thinking skills, if you are able to develop that, then perhaps they will not require much coachings and other things.
I'm Anand Thapliyal from GD Goenka, Dehradun. So as we all know, that parents' involvement is very important as far as holistic education is concerned. So I would like to request you to share CBSE's vision for open communication, and is CBSE going to do it in a manner that we can involve parents in holistic education?
Yes, there are a lot of discussions that are going on in CBSE how we can enhance the parental engagement, and perhaps few circulars have been issued, but perhaps more SOPs need to be developed. So I have joined 2 weeks back this organization, and it is in our mind how we can develop a comprehensive parental engagement book, and also a trainers book, so that some of the resource person or trainers, then they further cascade it down to the parents.
Sir, may I add to the question that in view of the CBSE board results, CUET results, various entrance competitions results, you talked of the coaching institution menace. We call it the menace in schools. So how would you justify or convince parents? Because they feel, I have seen in my duration as principal, that even if the child has no aptitude for science, they are spending lakhs and lakhs of rupees and admitting them in coaching institutions. So do you think it is that multiple boards and competitive examinations which puts the stress?
I think there are multiple factors to it. One is the societal prestige, that is the society is giving huge prestige to sciences till date, and these when they hear about packages from these colleges, then parents are always, they always feel that their ward should go in these colleges. But the way things are changing, many of the universities, private universities are coming now, and they are judging the child not only on the basis of just entrance exam scores, but on multiple things. And now when these children, when maybe after 5-6 years they will start doing well, and the word will spread that, look, children from now we are having so many universities, and this entrance examination thing, then perhaps it will change. It will not change till the time we are having, youth icons or youths who are coming from these institutions, and then they show similarly. The way today I happen to see your skills lab in this culinary. So if you have brand ambassadors who are coming from such organization, and then the word will spread in society, and they will go back and work, and then that ways, parents will also get to know that, okay, there are multiple options now, and handsome salaries are there, lot of new things are there, and that ways. And in fact, in many of the parents it is changing also. Many of the parents are now saying that it is okay to take arts, it is okay to do good. In Ashoka University has changed the mindset of lot of parents. Now we have a lot of GD Goenka and Plaksha, Flames, lot of such organizations have come which are trying to change that narrative.
Radhika ma'am, would you like to ask a question?
Thank you, sir. I think your talk was very enlightening, and a lot of points that you touched upon, I think a lot of us have that in our mind, and especially interaction with parents. I think if it comes from CBSE, they take it more seriously. That's what I really feel. So the question that I actually have is, I'd heard something about CBSE I. So what exactly is that, and how do you compare it with your regular CBSE?
See, initially CBSE International that was developed. It was mainly on for the international curriculum that was supposed to be implemented and executed. But now what has been decided is that there will be one board, CBSE. Board will go international. There are 2-3 aspects in going international. The first aspect is that we have a lot of schools abroad who want to follow CBSE curriculum. CBSE curriculum that is followed in our country. So we are having a lot of Indians who have gone abroad, or board is getting recognition that it is very good in sciences especially. So a lot of parents abroad also, they want their children to study in CBSE schools. Number one is this. So board is planning to open one of its offices in Dubai also. We are planning to open next year from April, and we have 250 schools right now abroad. We are seeing interest in a lot of countries. The second aspect is that, you know, developing curriculum for some of the South Asian and those countries, developing developing their curriculum and assessment. So that is the second aspect. The third aspect is that having international equivalency of CBSE. That means many a times if a child has to take admission in US or UK, one has to give TOEFL, IELTS, SAT. So how, you know, the CBSE can be of that equivalence that students, these universities directly, you know, take CBSE students. So work is also happening on this front. So on all these three fronts, work is happening, and we are very hopeful that in coming years, CBSE as a brand, I mean, if you look at the level of CBSE, you know, in sciences, it is perhaps the best board. Even a lot of, if you you take IGCSE or IB, the level of CBSE in sciences is one of the best. And again, in humanities also, it is doing very good.
Okay, yeah, my next question was about IB versus CBSE, because I think as parents, as teachers, we feel CBSE was more rote learning. Now I think with everything that you're sharing, it will change.
Yes, and I think a lot of focus is now with due time is on competency-based learning. The assessment is also going competency-based, and that percentage of competency-based questions will increase. And I think with due time, you will see that CBSE will be truly international, and there will be huge focus not only in India but also in abroad.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
May we have a question from...
Good morning, sir.
Only last question.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am. Sir, the books of NCERT that are prescribed by CBSE seems to teach students how to cook plain rice, while the question asking in the JEE or NEET exams are asking them to cook Hyderabadi biryani. So, are you working to upgrade the books also? I'm talking about higher classes.
Yes, I think there are both ways. JEE talks are also with IITs that syllabus should be based upon NCERT books.
Because students have to buy so expensive books besides that NCERT.
Yes, you are right. And focus should be more on concepts. The idea is that a child is able to understand the concept so that he or she is able to deliver. It is not more on having more and more curriculum and more understanding. See, a child is studying thermodynamics in 11th also. He will study in first year and second year also. So it should be more of a continuum, and more focus should be on concepts. And in fact, talks are with IITs also that JEE Main and JEE Advanced also, that you should be more on concepts which are covered in NCERTs. Similarly, CUET, if you see, multiple talks have happened with NTA, with Delhi University also, and their focus is also, if you know, the only thing is that a child has to practice on computers, mock test and all. Those facilities should be available in schools also. Perhaps in your computer labs you can have mock test facilities that are available so that a child is able to do that. So that is one thing that is there, because these are not handwritten exams but through on MCQs. So that is one thing that is that must be there. But yes, talks are going on with both all these organizations to ensure that focus must be only on NCERT books that are prescribed.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so
We
much.
have a
I
question
had one
from
last
Radhika ma'am.
question actually
Yes.
regarding the 10th board exams. You know, they were discontinued, then
No,
reintroduced.
no, they are no.
Then-
There is no right now. There is no plan of discontinuation as of now. Yeah.
Okay.